Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Thumbelina from the movie, 1994 movie. And this is an advanced level project. For this project you're going to need 1 or 2 holding hooks, some C-clips, skin tone bands, white bands, 1 or 2 shades of a blue or turquoise. I've got the jelly turquoise and this kind of lighter blue. You're going to need orange, gold, or yellow for the hair. And for the eyes, you can use blue bands, white beads with pupils drawn on using a Sharpie, or as I'm going to do in this case, you can use colored beads. I would recommend having on hand, if you are using beads, a piece of dental floss or thin wire with which to thread your beads onto the bands. And for the sort of headband here, I used flower beads the first time. I'm going to use just some little white beads the second time. If you want to use bands, you can use bands there. I'll try and remember to show you how. And if you have little seed beads, like really small white beads, you can use those, or you can leave that part out. So we're going to start by making the parts, and then we'll just go onto the loom to make the body. And the loom is going to be in the offset configuration. And afterwards we'll put it all together and make the head. So I will be making some parts with you, and at times I will ask you to pause and make a second or a third, fourth of the same piece on your own. We're going to begin by doing the hair extensions. I'm going to kind of try and do this from last to first so that things are conveniently placed on your hook. And you can put these on several different hooks if that's easier for you. So for the hair, I've made 3 chains. I'm going to make 1 with you and get you to pause. And on my original, I made a total of 6 chains. So you're going to want at least 4, and I'll show you how to make the first. If you want it really, really thick, you can make 6 instead of 4. So to do the hair chains, you're going to take 1 band of your hair color, put it on the end of your hook, and wrap it twice. Then you're going to grab a set of 2 bands of your hair color, place them together, pull your wrapped band over, and bring the other end back onto the hook. And you're going to do that again with another 2 orange bands, put them on the end, slide the bands over, replace. And that makes 2 sets for our chain, and mine have 16 long, so that's what I'm going to do here. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see this takes a little bit of time, which is why I'm not doing them all with you in the video. So we'd be at this all day. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you're trying to save bands, you can leave this a couple of links shorter. I'm going to do, as I said, all 16. And I will ask you to put this on a holding hook, pause the video, and you want to make at least 3 more chains of 16 in them. If you want the hair to be extra thick, as in my original, you're going to make a total of 6 chains. The next thing we're going to do is these 3 little pieces here, and they're pretty straightforward. You're just going to take a single orange, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times on your hook, and pull it onto 2 orange bands. Now this can stay on a holding hook, or you can just lay it down on the side. If you leave it loose, you can put a C-clip on either side, leave it on your hook, or just pop it down as it is. Place that on the side so it's ready. We're going to do that again for the opposite side. Oh, okay, I have one pretty well ready made here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do this one an extra time because my band's a little stretched. And pull it onto 2. place it on the side. And if you want the piece for the front of the head, we're going to do the exact same thing here. Single band, wrapped 1, 2, 3 times, hold on to double bands. So we have 3 pieces like this. They're either sitting on your hook like so, or they're on the side, and that's fine too. We're going to make 2 such pieces in white for the shoulder pieces, the shoulder puffs on the dress. And it's the same process, a single, wrapped 1, 2, 3 times, hold on to double bands, and this is in white because it's for the bodice. Once again, you can put that on your hook or just leave it loose. One more of those. 1, 2, 3. Hold on to 2 bands. And again, we're going to lay that on the side or on a holding hook. The next piece we want to make, this is kind of optional. I'm going to be making the side extensions for the dress. If it looks too complicated or you're happy with a really thin skirt, then just leave it out. But to make the side extensions, what you want to do is take the blue that you're going to use for your dress, and I'm using kind of a lighter silicone here. Take double bands, stretch them from the first peg on the side down to the second, and come down 5 more times so that you have 6 sets in total, and double bands on each. Now if you go to that 7th peg down where you laid your last band, you're going to take double bands and bring them into the center. Go to the peg above, take 2 bands, bring them to the center, and go to the peg above that. So the last 3 pegs that you used are going to have double bands moving away. And on that center row, you're going to cap off over the pegs that you just laid there. You can wrap it 3 to 4 times. So basically what we're doing, just going to turn this around for a minute, you're going to put a single on top, twist it, put it back over that same peg. It's still a little hard at this angle, but twist it again, put it back over, and you can do an extra twist if you want. Now to loop it up, you're going to go to the center peg where you have your last 2 bands capped. Go under the cap band, take the 2 bands that are coming from the side and bring them back over to the side. And repeat that on the peg above in the center. Go under the cap band, take your 2 bands, bring them back to the side. And last time. We're going to go to the 7th peg down on the side where we have the last of our side pegs in use. You're going to take the bottom 2 and loop it upwards, push back, loop upwards, and go straight to the top of the loom. And this can be transferred from the top peg onto a holding hook and eased off. Oops, I've got a loose band. I'll have to fix that a little later. Okay, so I'll get you to pause and make your second side extension, and I'll tighten that up once we got it attaching. Next up, we've got our arm. We'll do that next because that's a little more straightforward. I'm doing this a total of 11 times here. So we're going to have a chain of doubled over singles 11 times. I'll show you how to do it. My original, I made it a little bit longer, but I felt it was a little too long. So we're going to do 11 this time. And what we do is take a single skin tone band, wrap it on the hook 1, 2, 3 times. And you're going to take a single skin tone, stretch it, twist it, pull it back on top so it's doubled over, put it on the end of the hook, and slide your wrapped band on top. And we're going to bring this onto another 10 doubled over single skin tone bands. This is 2. You want a total of 11. This is 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. When you have that ready, you can make your second one and pop it onto a holding hook. I'm just going to transfer this to the back side of mine so it's sitting next to its partner limb. Okay. So you want 2 arms. And then the last piece we need to make in advance is the legs. First thing for the leg is you get one of your shoe color handy. You're going to wrap it on the end of your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Take a single of that same color, double it over, run it through, put the other end back on. Take a skin tone, put it on the end of the hook, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. And you're going to take, if you're looking at your turquoise, you have bands on either side. You're going to bring the ones closer to the end of the hook over the wrapped pink. So just lift it over so that the pink now sits in the middle. You're going to take another single shoe color, double it over, pull it through all of the bands that are on your hook that you've used for your shoe. See, this is a little bit tight here. Okay, there we go. Put the other end on. Get another skin tone band under the hook, wrap it 1, 2, 3 times. Bring the side of your shoe over again. So pinch the first 2 loops over to the other side of the wrapped band. Because these are jelly, they're kind of a little extra tight, but it's okay. And another doubled over single turquoise is going to go through all the bands on here. You want to kind of try to keep them in order as best you can. We want the skin tone to show up in the middle, so you can see I'm probably going to have to adjust this a bit myself in a minute. The reason we're doubling them over here is so that it looks really nice and tight, and she has these delicate, petite, slippery, like slipper-bearing feet. Oh, just can't get that last one. There. Okay, replace the other end. And now we're going to take a doubled over single skin tone and pull that through our blue, our green, or turquoise. And we want 2 more doubled over single skin tones. So there's 1 and 2. And now you're going to take the color that you're using for your dress, stretch it and double it over and run it through. And I can see here I actually grabbed the wrong color on my first shoe, so I'm going to just fix that now. If you're using the same color for your shoe and your dress, it doesn't matter, of course, but the goal here is to get the leg to blend nicely into the bottom of the skirt. So that's what you see here is where we've used the same color. So once you've made your other leg, I think we'll be ready to start onto our loom. Get this out there ready, please. And we're going to take a set of skin tone bands, 2, bring them from the top center to the second center peg. And we're going to take another set of double bands, bring them from the second center to the second right, and 2 from the second center to the second left. Now our next thing to do is to find those white shoulder puffs, and you're going to lay it, oh, let's do one set down here. Sorry, skin tone, we'll take 2 skin tones, come from the second sides to the third sides, and then we'll lay on our shoulder piece. Doesn't really matter so much, but I think this is good. So the white little puff balls, you're going to lay it from your top peg on the side to your second peg down on the side. And do that for the right side as well. And now we're going to come down the center, one time with double white bands. Oh, the center one time with double skin, and then one time with double white. Show you in just a second here, and it's going off my picture here, and double white bands down on either side. That's what I was looking at. I have 2 pictures here, one for my first design and one for my more successful second one, so that's why I just want to double check this for you. So the center, you're going to have 2 sets of skin tone, double skin tone, 1 set of white. Either side, you're coming down from the second peg, double skin tone, double white. And you have your shoulder puffs in place from the first peg to the second peg on either side. And then we can switch to our bluey color. And we're going to do, take the color you used for your shoes and come down once on each of the rows. And then we're going to come down with our dress color. Let me just double count that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times on either side. Double bands all the way. Four, 5, 6, and 7. And on the right side, starting where you left off, come down 7 times. Now in the middle, we're going to come down 7 times as well, so that our dress sits just a little bit lower in the center. Oh, I guess we'll go down 8 times actually. We can go down one more time. Okay, we're ready to put the feet on. You're going to take a single dress colored band, double it over, bring it under through one of your legs, and stretch that from the second peg up on the side to the bottommost peg on the center. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And repeat that for the right side. Other leg onto a doubled over single dress color band. Stretch it across to the side. Take a single dress colored band, and you're going to make a cap band on the bottom center peg. I'm doing about 3 times. You can do 4 times if you want. We are going to add our arms next, and they're going to go on the second pegs down on either side. And if you want it to curl the opposite direction, what you can do is take your another hook and come through from the opposite side to place this down so it faces the other way. So if I wanted this to go the other way, I could put my hook through, take it off the peg and then press it back down from upside down kind of. We are going to do put some holding bands on, and then we can add our leg extension. All right, so we're going to start with our doubled over band to make sure we get that in. And just to make the waist a little bit tighter, I'm taking a single color of the belt, a single band of the belt shoe color, which is my jelly one. I'm twisting it over, and I'm going to go to the fourth peg down, I believe it was. Again, I just want to make sure I've got that right for you, so let me double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do the fifth peg down actually. Fifth peg down is going to be, or fifth pegs down, you're going to bring it across all of your fifth pegs counting down. The peg above will be a single turquoise, not doubled over. And all the way down the body, you're taking your dress color and you're stretching it across to make triangles. So this is, if you count to your sixth peg down, that will be your first dress color one, and it will land, it'll encompass the sixth peg down in the center and on the side for each of these as well. And you're going to repeat this, making triangles underneath. We're going to have a total of 7 single holding bands, triangle holding bands, using the dress color. And on the upper body, we're just going to take a white band and stretch it across the third pegs down, so right over the turquoise. And we're going to do our upper body extension. Well, I got that in mind. So take 2 white bands and stretch them from your second peg down to your third peg down on the side. It's going to sit over the bands that are already there. And again on the right side, so you're going from where the arm is to the peg below. And we're going to put on the extension for the skirt. And this is going to start at, I think I wrote this down somewhere here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. At your sixth peg down, you want to take your extension, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where you had the second peg that has your dress color on it. You're going to transfer the bands from the hook onto the loom. It doesn't matter too much which direction it's coming from. Like you can see, these are going both ways. I guess if you can get it so that your kind of extra loops are facing inwards, that's better. So I'm going to turn this one around. You can always pull them through, but this makes it a tiny bit easier. And I'll show you you can see I've got my loose side here, so we'll fix that after, but I'm going to start on the opposite side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm going to find that wrapped holding band at the very end of the chain, and then I'm going to go into the set above, so this next group, take 1 or 2 of the bands, and I'm going to stretch it down to the bottommost peg on the dress. So not the cap band, but a section from the piece just under that. I'm going to use 2 pieces here. And then we're going to stretch this down some more, and you're going to find, kind of on the side here, where we capped our next one. So it's going to kind of stand out like this once you've got it, and that's going to go on to the next peg up. And then I'm going to find the next section here, and take your time, really try and get the right ones. If you're having a terrible time, as I said, you can skip the extension, or you can lay these on as an extra layer as you did at the top, or you can just make a straight chain and then do what we're going to do here, which is to find a piece of the next section and just pull it over the corresponding peg. If you do a straight chain, the only thing is it's going to be very rounded, but it's going to be evenly rounded. This gives us a little more of a poof at the bottom. And I'm going back here, I'm looking in my next chain, I'm going to grab a piece and pull it over the nearby peg. And for the one above that. Now this is all set in place. And what this does is it keeps this whole piece from jumping out to the side. I'm going to connect the other side. You know, I've got my little messy band here, so I'm just going to incorporate that. So I'm finding right at the end, there's my cap band. And then I'm going to look at the next section. I'm going to bring a band, those bands, 1 or 2 bands out of that onto the bottommost peg here. If it's easier, you can start at the top and work down. That's fine too. Just going to take my really loose one and stretch it across all of those, and that'll make it fit a little more nicely. In the next section, you can see there's this piece bulging out. I'm going to get inside of that. That was my cap band. And bring that over the second peg up, the next peg up. My next bulgy piece I'm getting inside and bringing that over the next peg. And then the rest is just grab a piece of the chain and pop it over. These ones are all twisty. I'm going to turn this around so I've got a better angle. There we go. Grab a piece, pull it over the next peg, grab a piece, pull it over. Okay, so we need one more white band coming across the third pegs down from the top to keep our extension in place. I'm just going to triple check, but I think we've got everything we need to start looping the body. Yep. Okay, so let's go to the very bottom of the loom. Whew, what a mess we've got here. Okay, we want to get under the cap band, and we need to get the band that's sitting next to the top underneath that. So it looks to me like that's going to be the doubled over band coming from the right. And I'm going to bring this under for the moment so that it's easier for me to come and catch it. So I'm going under. I'm going to grab hold of that band. It's a doubled over band, so you'll have 2 loops. I'm going to get it on my hook, release it from the side, and bring it over to the right. Next one is coming from the left side. So I go inside. If you want, you can bring this over onto the next peg again. You don't have to do that step, I find it makes it sort of stand out a little easier, which makes it easier to grab. Pull it to the side, and we'll loop up the center. And I think we're going to go up the center. We'll loop until the third peg from the top. Just get that part done. So get inside, take your 2 bands, and just bring them forward. And the holding band shouldn't be too much in your way here. Okay, so I'm going to stop when I reach the skin tone. Just if any of you who are going to race ahead of me, just remember to get that last pink one in when you get to the top. Otherwise, this is all going to unravel. You're going to be really, really miserable. Okay, make sure everything's nice and tight. Now I'm going to go up the side. And you have lots and lots of bands on these pegs, but what you need to remember is to only get the bottom 2 in each set. So the open part of my hook is facing up. I'm going to reach inside, take the bottom 2, lift them up and over to the next peg and put them on securely before reaching in again for the bottom 2. And if it helps you, you can always take your hook, take your hand, pull it to the side so you can see it better and catch it more easily. And we're going to go up until we reach the just before the white, because I'm actually going to add something here which I completely forgot about. Okay, so stop when you get to the turquoise, please. And what we're going to do, just for the moment, oh, you're going to be so mad at me. Completely forgot this. We're going to have to lift a couple of bands and add some extra bands on. You know what? It occurred to me I can just make a note for you in the, as an annotation. But let me just fix this for myself here. We want to have a total of 6 bands from the 3rd to the 4th pegs down in white. So if you caught my annotation before, you're all set. If not, you're going to have to pull off some of the top bands and add 4 whites And we're gonna put everything back where it was. Okay, so we have holding band. Okay, grab this bottom one. Holding band, whites on top. Sorry guys, this will just take me a second here. Next one back on top. Or in the other order perhaps. I'll bring this back up here. We'll be ready to continue right away. I just gotta fix the other side quickly. And I could have done this off camera, but I'll show you the whole process here. You'll see me making my occasional mistakes as well. You know what, sometimes it doesn't come out just right. Sometimes you have to make adjustments or go back and do things. That's part of it. I don't want you to think this is everything's always a one-step kind of deal. Okay, and that side's back. Holding band back, and we can continue looming. So we were at the 5th peg down where we were starting the turquoise. We're going to loop up once, we're going to loop up twice, grab all 6 of the bands from under your holding band and bring them forward. Now this next one's kind of hard because we want the top 2 white. You're going to carefully reach in and push back your holding bands and get just those top 2. Bring them carefully forward. You can see all the other bands just want to jump right off there. So hold it down firmly. Now what you want to do is put your thumb on the 2nd peg down where you've looped those, and you're going to bring the top white bands that you just looped over. So when you've got it off, you're going to see your holding band and you're going to see 2 pink bands, and that's what you're going to be pulling upwards onto the next peg. Grab your shoulder piece and bring it downwards onto that peg, and go inside to get your bottom 2 pink bands and bring those up to the 2nd peg in the center. Whew, okay. Other side, we gotta loop that from the beginning now. So go to the bottom on the right side, and once more, remember that you just want your 2 bottommost bands on each set. So turn your loom to whatever position best enables you to get those. Push it down as you go, and we're gonna go straight up until we reach the white again. This time everything's in place, at least on mine. Yours was probably already in place with the annotation there. So we're just going to keep going. Loop up your turquoise, push back and get all 6 of your whites. Take a couple at once and just get them a bit at a time if that's easier. Now you want the top 2 whites. I need to turn my loom around to see this a little better, I think. Not sure that helps. A lot of this has to do with just angling things to get the best perspective sometimes, especially when you have a lot of bands of the same color on the same, like on a given peg. This is one of those places you really want to make sure you get the right ones, because if you get the wrong ones, you're going to have some things flopping about loosely. And that just won't do. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I think we're good. Yep, see when I pull this and nothing's sitting loose, then we're good. And now we need those 2 pinks. But first we're going to put our finger on the second peg down on the side and bring these white bands over to the side. Okay, get your pinks and bring them up. Bring down your white shoulder puff. So you're just popping it over the second peg down. And get the bottom two pink to bring back to the center. It's going to be a little tight here because we have a lot of bands to go through. That's okay. Just do it gently and it should be alright. Now we're coming down to the third peg down in the center. You're looping up 2 times, bottom bands only. Okay, don't lose grip of your top center peg, but you can start to ease the rest of this off now. Just gonna check our time. Okay. Because you have a lot of tension, you want to do this kind of slowly, carefully, because otherwise you might well break your bands, or it's a little bit harder on the loom. You don't want to stretch things out too much because we made a point of making certain parts tight, and we don't want to lose that when we remove this. Now if you do see any loose bands as you're taking this off, try and grab them quickly so you can secure them, put them on a C-clip or weave them in before they get to be a problem. I'm going to put my hook through the bands on the top center peg, and we're going to take the rest of this off. Okay, so I can see some of my bands at the bottom are a little bit stretched out, so I'm going to have to tighten those up. So the front side is the one that has the shoulder puffs on top. I'm just going to put this on a separate holding hook for the moment. And are there any adjustments we want to do right now? I think I'm going to fix up my loose bands just now. So to do that, you go under the loose bands. And I'm going to go under a nearby band, pull my loose one through. That's what I'll do. Go through a nearby band. Pull one side over the other. Go through a nearby band. Pull one side over the other. Now you don't have to do this. You can use a C-clip. You can pull your band and do a knot if you want. Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to go through. I'm going to get my loose bands, pull them under. This is just going to make things a little snugger. So there, nothing's jumping out there anymore. And now this last piece can go onto a C-clip. I think I'll weave it back up a little so the C-clip doesn't show under the bottom. And we'll just tuck that under another band. If you want the chest area to be a little bit tighter, what you can do is go under a couple of the blues or even through the whites. I think that's what I'll do. I'll go through 1 or 2 white chest pieces, go across the middle, grab another 2. I'm going to take a white band. This is also optional. It'll just make it sit more snugly. Pull the band through. Put the other end on. Pull one end through the other, like a knot. And then I'm going to go through from the back, grab that band and pull it through. And that can go on a C-clip as well. That'll just make things sit a little tighter. Okay, so weave that in quickly. And then we'll start on our head, I think. Okay, so there's our body, there are our hair pieces, and we have a couple more. And we're gonna start making the face now. So we're gonna take 2 orange bands, and you're gonna take one of your hair chains and slide it on top. And take another hair chain and slide it on top. Yes, I've got the back side of my hook right now. If you made 6 chains, you can put 3 onto the one side. If you made 2, you just have 4, you just put 2 on each. This goes from the top center to the top side. And for the other side, we need 2 bands. You're going to transfer your hair chains, slide both of them over the end of your hook and onto that piece. I'm just doing it this way because I've got my body on the other side. Chose to use the same hook here. This goes from the top center to the top right side. We're going to come down the middle one time with double orange bands from the top to the second one, and we're going to come down on either side once with double orange, once with double orange starting at the top, like so. Skin tone on either side, coming down once, twice. 1 set of double bands, 2 set of double bands. Opposite side, 1 time, 2 times. Bring it into the middle, or actually we'll come down the middle first. 3 times with double pink, double skin tone. It's 1, 2, and 3. And then we can close it up from the sides. 4th side to the 5th center. 4th side to the 5th center. We are going to put holding bands across, and I used single holding bands the first time and didn't double them over. I'm going to double them over this time because I found I had to tighten things up a little bit after the fact. So on the 2nd peg down and on the 4th peg down, and our next one is going to have the eyes on it. So this is where we use our floss to thread the eyes on. I'm using just a couple of blue beads, so I'll put my floss through. And then through a skin tone. It can be a doubled over one if you want. Otherwise you might want or need to tighten it up at the back after, but we'll see how this goes, huh? Bring it back through, like over, back through. Pinch and slide on, and this goes across your 3rd pegs down. If you wanted to use bands, all you do is wrap 2 bands onto your hook and wrap each one about 3 times, and then slide them both onto a skin tone band, and you'll do what you're doing here. I've just got my hook in between and brought one side over. Now we need to put the next hair pieces on. So we're going to take one of our orange extension pieces that we made and put it on the 2nd peg down in the center. Just let it sit right on top there. And then we're going to take 2 orange bands and come down from the 2nd side to the 2nd, 3rd, or the 3rd side on either side, like so. And we're going to put one of, like, each of our remaining little hair extensions on the 3rd peg down on either side. Okay, we can add our body now to the 5th peg down in the center. Make sure that the upside is facing up. So that's a really hard thing to remedy after you pretty well can't. And we're going to start looping. So let's get under the body. You're going to get the top 2, bring them to the left side, and the next top 2 to the right side, and the last ones are going up. And I'm going to loop up 2 more times. 1 and 2. Try and get my skin tone just behind the orange piece, and I'll do that last piece after. On this side, I'm going for my bottom 2 skin tone. How do we do this? Yeah, bottom 2 skin tone. I'm going to bring it over the next peg and over the orange piece. And then I want to get under that little hair piece and take the orange that's coming from above and bring that forward. And now what we're going to do is take the bottom orange off to the side. So it's sitting sort of to the side. I'm going to lift up this orange that we brought over for the moment. You can put that on a holding hook or just hold on to it. I'm reaching under the eye and getting the bottom two pink skin tone, bringing them forward, and then replacing the hair extension piece. And then I'm going in one more time, getting the bottom orange and bringing it forwards. And here's the tricky part. We need to lift up the orange from under that top side peg. Hold on to it on your hand or a hook. And what I'm going to do is lift my hair chains up, put my hook through them. This is harder if you have 3. Grab the piece that's on my finger and pull it through into the center top peg. I almost made it, I just dropped them there. Okay, and those are on, and we're going to do everything for the other side. Okay, so we're going to loop up the bottom pink one time, bring it over the orange piece, get inside and get the 2 orange that are coming from on top. Hold on to those and you can sort of lift that orange to the side. We're going to take the top part of the newly looped orange off and just hold it there for a minute. Go under the eye piece and bring your next pinks up. Put your orange back on top. Whew. Loop up the next orange to secure. Grab your orange and we're going to go through with our hook through here, through the chains. Just got to turn this around a little bit. So I'm holding this, or you can put it onto a hook. I'm coming through the chains, and this is so that they show up on the right side, on the correct side. Makes it look a lot neater. That's one, and I have to grab the other one still. 2, onto the top center. Come back to the second peg down, and you're going to loop those last 2 orange upwards. So we're almost done. We need to secure and do a couple of finishing touches. Grab a single orange band. I'm running out of time here. Put it on your left finger with your hook. Point the open part away from you. Press it through the bands on the top center peg. Grab your single band with the open part of your hook. Not sure if you can see that well. Okay, and we're going to slide it back up. As you're coming through, you're turning your hook so that the open part of the hook is facing upwards. Put the other side on and pull one side over the other to create a slip knot here. Ease everything off. You can make adjustments as you go. Again, if you see anything loose or anything that needs kind of popping through, you can tend to that sooner. Alright, I'm going to take my securing band and just put it between the hair to the back. Hide it under some nearby bands. Put it on a C-clip. And now for the rest of the hair, what we do, and this takes a little bit of kind of playing around, but I'm going to kind of press it upwards and pinch it at the top. And then I'm going to turn it to the back. So these are just pinched upwards and around. I'm going to put my hook through the hair chains, a couple of pieces in each. And take a single orange and slide it through all of the chains. Put one side over the other, create a slip knot, and there the hair is kind of sitting up. If you want it to sit a little lower, you can make your chain kind of, or make your pull through the chains a little closer to the top. This is going to go on our C-clip as well, or you can start a new C-clip if you'd like. And then, just our last touches. For the headband, you can take 1 or 2 blue bands, turquoise bands. I'm using my belt color. Pull it over the head, under the hair, so it's right around the neck, and then you're going to pop it up again so so that it's sitting above the little hair puffs. And the last thing is for the little headband. If you're using bands, what you can do is take a single white, wrap it 3 times, 2 or 3 times, and put it onto either a single white or a doubled over white. Put one side over the other to create a slip knot. Which didn't work that time. And then go through the hair from the back, grab the band and pull it through to where you want it. Alternately, you can do the same thing, but then place your 3 flowers onto an orange band, and then pull the orange band in the way I'm going to show you with the beads. Okay, so that's with bands. If you're using beads, then we'll need our floss again, because mine are very small. I'm going to thread them on. So this is, like I said, similar whether you're using bands or beads. Just with the bands, you want to do a wrapped one on a doubled over, or just on a non-doubled over. Where did my last pretty bead go? Okay, it's missing, it's rolled away. We can pull out another one. Okay, so just as I did with the eyes, I'm putting my beads onto the floss through the band, back over and back through. If you want to use seed beads, because they're really small and delicate looking, you can use those as well. These ones, like I said, are a little bit bigger, and the ones I used the first time are much bigger and they look like flowers. So once these are on, or your bands, if you're using bands on an orange, what you're going to do is go through the side of your hair. Just pick a spot you like, pull that band through, take a single orange, or hair colored band I should say, some of you might be using gold, bring it through that band, put the other end on, and we're going to bring one side over the other to create a slip knot. You can always use a holding band if this is getting a holding hook if this is getting confusing. Slide it around the hair. I'm just going to kind of hold on to that piece, or you can put it on a C-clip and use a separate one. And now I'm bringing my flower band to the other side, and I'm going to go through a band or two. Grab that piece that I brought around from the other side, go under the hair, go under the headband, bring it to the back, and put it on a C-clip. I'm just going to weave that in a second. I think we're almost done. 1 or 2 other ideas for you, and then we'll close this off. Okay, we'll secure that. I'm just going to pop it through another piece for now. So if you want the hair chain to sit closer together or to connect to each other, all you do is go to the back, run your hook through the body, through the hair, grab another band, slide it through. Like if you wanted your hair to sit close together, you just put the pieces together, take a band and pull them together like so. Okay. Secure, put it on a C-clip. The very last note I promise is, if you want the arms to sit behind the back as I did, you're going to do something similar where you're going to go to the back, go through a piece on the dress, 1 or 2 pieces, it doesn't matter where, just line it up nicely, grab a section of the hand and slide it through, put it on a C-clip. And there you have your beautiful Thumbelina. So I do have a tutorial out for Giacomo, and I have a number of different characters from different shows. I encourage you to watch them.